well. So within this line, we have enough locally enhanced shear that has allowed these storms to rotate, potentially producing tornadoes, and we continue to see this tornado warning into Montauk County. So a lot happening right now. The time now is officially 9 o'clock, so if you are just joining us on KOMU 8, if our viewers on the CW are just now tuning in, first off, I want to thank you for joining us and welcome you to our broadcast. We are live on the air with wall-to-wall storm mode coverage as we continue to see severe weather moving through central Missouri. Let me show you the full picture of the satellite and radar of First Alert Radar. We're really only watching one cluster of thunderstorms in southern Boone County, into Montauk County, into Cooper County, and into Montauk County as well. Cooper County, this threat is starting to exit, but we continue to watch rotation that is moving into northern Montauk County. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning that's for a much larger area. As we look to the north, we have thunderstorms stretching up Highway 63 from Moberly to Macon to Kirksville. And with this, we have a lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, and a lot of heavy rain in northern Missouri. This has prompted areas to the west of Kirksville, close to I-35, to issue flash flood warnings. The ground very, very saturated in what we're seeing. As we look at the southern extent of this, we have multiple lightning strikes that continue, plus the severe weather alerts that remain in effect at this time. The severe thunderstorm warning is going to continue. Hail and for 1 inch in diameter and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and they are going to continue to keep the tornado possible tag with this storm. As we zoom in a little bit closer, we put the freeze frame on this. The city of Columbia getting in on thunderstorms very shortly, but within the city of Columbia, we are not experiencing severe weather. As you head further south, down Highway 63 towards Ashland, that's where we do have this severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect, and this is where we may have some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. This storm moving pretty slowly, so let's go ahead and put a storm track here on the southern extent of this. And it is moving again to the east at about 25 miles per hour. Rockbridge Memorial State Park, 904 for some of those winds, 911 in California. Ashland around 915, Hartsburg 920, University of Missouri, Ashland Wildlife Research Area 925, Pine Ridge Campground 930, and St. Martin's at 941 if this storm continues its strength. Of course, the main concern that we continue to watch at this point in time is the tornado warning that remains in effect for northern Montauk County at this point in time. Let me show you the latest velocity image that we have coming into the Weather Center, and with the red and the green together, again, much more broad, much more unorganized. These are signs that we love to see because it's a sign that this storm may be becoming a little more elevated, and that means the tornado threat may be starting to decrease. At this point, we do have a severe thunderstorm watch that remains in effect until 11 p.m. We'll continue to watch that. Of course, the western edge of this severe thunderstorm watch continues to be canceled. Let me show you over the last, we'll say, 10, 15 minutes or so. These storms are continuing to push to the east, but you see how that couplet goes from really well-defined bright colors next to each other, and then they start to become more spread apart. There's more distance between them, and it's not that well-defined couplet anymore. That is a welcome sign that these storms are starting to become more disorganized, and I'm just seeing in the National Weather Service chat that they are agreeing with this point. These storms starting to become much more disorganized, a very, very good sign. Of course, we're going to continue to watch these storms move through the region, and these storms that continue to produce the potential for some strong winds as they move off to the east. Let me switch things over very briefly to our flood alerts, because that is another concern. Of course, we saw heavy rainfall Monday night. We saw it Tuesday night. We saw it Wednesday night. We saw it last night for parts of the region. And here we are again on Friday night with another flood watch that's in effect until 10 a.m. Saturday for areas along and north of Highway 50. With this, we have a few flash flood warnings for northern Missouri. We'll zoom the map up a little bit just so we can get a quick glimpse of those. Those storms producing heavy rainfall. A couple of small river flood warnings, but no main flood warnings in effect at this point in time. That's good news. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch that continues as well. We're going to switch over to that map that you're going to see here in just a moment. And the Kansas City area counties have started to get canceled from this watch. Another good sign. So once this initial line of storms moves through, we are starting to see things calm down quite a bit across the region, and we're going to continue to see that happening. Here's the latest reflectivity. That is the radar image, of course. The radar beam being sent out from Pleasant Hill. It's reflecting back, and that's what we're seeing, the reflectivity. That's where it gets its name. We continue to monitor the tornado warning that is in effect for southern parts of Cooper County. This includes California and to the east of Clarksburg, that we continue to see this. We are going to continue to monitor the rotation that has become quite broad within this warning. That's a welcome sign. Again, until the Weather Service officially moves to cancel this warning, though, we're going to stay with it. We also have the overarching thunderstorm, and let me just take a look at some of the winds associated with that. Not seeing super strong reflectivity values or velocity values on the edge of this. Certainly a welcome sign here. But still embedded within this thunderstorm, we could see some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts, which is why the National Weather Service is continuing that warning. Back to the radar image, I do want to show us the hail scope with this storm. And let me again back this up a little bit and show you that the hail has been pretty consistent, even when it left southern parts of Cooper County and now well into Montauk County. This hasn't really changed a whole lot. It's still this light blue shading. It's not massive hail, but the potential for quarter-size hail certainly exists within this storm. And as we continue, we are going to watch these storms move through the region as well. Quick update coming in from the National Weather Service. They are saying that a secondary concern that is going to continue to develop is flash flooding. Because these storms are developing, they continue to kind of develop behind the severe storm. We call this training, and that could lead to flash flooding. So let me show you on the radar image. We'll rewind it, and what I want you to watch is from Bunsen to Smithton. We saw showers and thunderstorms move through, and now we've kind of seen this back building of thunderstorms as well. This is a recipe for flash flooding that we continue to keep an eye on, and that is a concern that we've been watching all week long. We've had flash flooding every day this week. We have gone from a very, very significant drought to a ground that is so saturated with moisture. Any showers and thunderstorms that move through pretty easily produce flash flooding. It has gone from one extreme to the next here in mid-Missouri, and that is something that has become very common for us to change from one extreme to the next. We won't get a clear idea of what the latest drought monitor looks like until next Thursday, because it ends at 7 a.m. Tuesday. At 7 a.m. Tuesday, they cut it off, they do the analysis, and then they put it out Thursday morning. So Tuesday morning to Thursday morning, there was a lot that happened in that time frame here in mid-Missouri. So it's not a very good representation of what our atmosphere and what our ground looks like. So we'll get a much clearer picture heading into Thursday. It looks like we continue to get some updates here that are coming in. We do have a report from Cooper County of an estimated 60-mile-per-hour winds south of Bunsen. That is from the public via a trained spotter. Again, something we'll continue to monitor. We saw some pretty impressive rotation, but not necessarily any reports of a touchdown. Granted, this storm also moved through a very rural area. The National Weather Service also talking about that potential for flash flooding. And now that rain is starting to pick up, become a little more heavy, and we are getting that in terms of the heavy rain that is now hitting the roof. I can actually hear it hitting the station right now. So multiple things that we continue to monitor at this hour. A big view of the satellite and radar shows those thunderstorms moving into central Missouri. We still have the tornado warning here. I would not be surprised if the Weather Service drops this here shortly. And if that happens, we will get you to the news with Evie Allen. She is standing by, of course, over on the CW. In fact, directors, once we see this warning expired, could you let me know, once I finish up, if we're going to go to a commercial break or if we're just going to roll straight into the CW? Okay, we'll roll straight into the CW. So on NBC, you'll go back to programming. On the CW, we're going to roll straight into the news. Stand by, because that's not happening yet. We've got to wait for this tornado warning to go away before we can do that. Let's go ahead and look at the latest velocity image. And again, it remains pretty broad, but there is some rotation within this along Highway H, south of Jamestown. Emmy, has the Weather Service given any indication of if they're going to continue this? Because this tornado warning goes until, what, 9:30?
Yes, the one that we've been focusing on, that one goes until 9:30. Haven't heard anything about them continuing it or expiring it. Just kind of quiet on that front.
All right, but we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued, so let's get the latest on that. That is for 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and notice the brown line here. They're going to continue that language of the tornado possible tag. What that means is that the storm has enough rotation that it's worth watching as it continues to push off to the east. These storms have gotten a lot more messy as well, really losing a lot of their structure. So that's something that is working in our favor as well. But as I mentioned, we've seen some back building of these storms through Bunsen, and we're even continuing to see that now down towards Smithton. So as we continue to see that back building, that's going to locally enhance the flash flooding threat. And we do have a flash flood watch that remains in effect until 10 a.m. So the new severe thunderstorm warning, it is for Boone, Callaway, Cole, and Montauk County. It is in effect until 10 p.m. So we're expecting that this storm is going to remain pretty gusty and remain capable of producing some hail for a good amount of time here. The severe thunderstorm warning is going to continue until 10 p.m. It's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. Let's do a new storm track that we are continuing to keep an eye on with this storm. Getting into Ashland now, we're starting to see the potential for those winds to really be picking up. Here's the latest timing that we're keeping an eye on. 9:18 in Ashland, St. Martin's 9:16. So those are all within the next couple of minutes. Oldham 9:21. Guthrie at 9:30. Jefferson City around 9:30. New Bloomfield 9:35. Holt Summit 9:36. Dixie around 9:40. And Pitcher around 9:41. As this continues to move to the east, that's where we're going to be watching for the wind threat, the hail threat that's going to continue as well across the region. The National Weather Service is going to continue the tornado warnings. This is just coming in to the Weather Center here. They're continuing it for tornado potential, of course, radar-indicated rotation and quarter-size hail. This storm moving to the east around 30 miles per hour. As we continue to watch this storm, it's located near Jamestown, and it's moving to the east at 30 miles per hour. So let's clear everything off of here. Let's switch back to the velocity, and let's get in here. So around Jamestown, I certainly see enough rotation within this, plus we're kind of on the far extent from the radar, so that doesn't make this any easier. We basically have 3 radars that cover our area: Kansas City, St. Louis, and Springfield, and they all go up in elevation. And as we get into mid-Missouri, we kind of get the upper end of the elevation from all 3 radars, so sometimes it can be a little more difficult to see things here. But to the south of Jamestown is where we continue to watch this rotation here. And again, pretty broad, but still enough that we are capable of producing a tornado. And that is going to continue to be moving off to the east at about 30 miles per hour. Again, this tornado warning goes until 9:30, so we're going to be staying with you for the duration of this warning. But let me show you the satellite and radar just to kind of get you an overall bigger picture of what's going on here. And with this, we have the severe thunderstorm watch. That remains in effect until 11 p.m. We have really just a small cluster of storms that remains capable of producing a tornado in Montauk County. And it's a pretty small rural area. We apologize, but we're going to stay on the air until this warning is allowed to expire. As we stretch to the north, we just have organized rain, and a lot of it that is creating the potential for flash flooding. As these storms have kind of initiated and are now back building, we're seeing more of that potential for flash flooding. Of course, with all the rain in the last several days, it does not take much for that to happen. In fact, let's look at some of our rain rates coming out of this thunderstorm activity. Potentially rainfall rates of over 2.5 inches per hour. That's very, very heavy rainfall. That would be to the northeast of California. Kind of clicking here into some of the higher contours. Let's click into the lighter area still of up to 1 inch per hour. What that means is if this rain were to continue exactly like that in that exact moment, it would rain about that amount for an hour, just like driving down the highway. If you go 60 miles an hour for an hour without any change, you would go 60 miles. So it's the same thing with that inch per hour rainfall rates that we continue to watch. As we continue to keep an eye on these thunderstorms that move through the region, we are starting to get some more updates from the National Weather Service in terms of the velocity with this image. Are they continuing the tornado warning? Is that still there, or did they cancel that, Emmy?
They're still continuing it.
They're still continuing it. It's a pretty small warning. Let me hide the radar real quick. Yeah, it's a really small warning right now. And as we zoom in, we still don't really have any cities south of Jamestown to the northeast of California. California, I want to be very clear, you're all good. Jamestown, you're in the clear as well. This is to the south of Sandy Hook along Highway N towards Route N that we see this tornado warning. To the east of Highway 87, still that indication of potential rotation with this storm that we continue to monitor. I think we're probably going to see the warning go until 9:30. Maybe we'll be let go of it just a little bit sooner, but I don't think that we're going to see any major changes in regards to this storm at this point in time. Getting some updates here from our friends at the National Weather Service. Let me go ahead and analyze those. They are saying that these echoes have indeed intensified again, that we've been watching here very closely. We're also starting to notice what is potentially some upscale growth, which means that the wind threat is likely really going to start to kick up a little bit more, and the tornado threat should start to decrease. That is a welcome sign, and we want to see that. We don't want to see damaging winds, but we do want to see the tornado threat decreasing. So we are continuing to monitor that here into the newsroom. But at this time, once we saw this velocity image kind of ramp up, the rotation ramp up again, it has started to calm back down. Again, we're seeing that switch over now to a more elevated storm threat, which means that this is going to become more of a damaging wind threat. I still think a tornado or two is possible. Until these storms really calm down or exit our viewing area, we're going to be here keeping you updated throughout the evening and overnight hours that we watch these storms move through central Missouri. Once the threat expires, then we'll end everything tonight. So even if we sign off the air, we will still be here continuing to monitor these storms. Let's go ahead and look at the track of the storms as they continue to move to the east. And we are seeing those moving to the east at about 30 miles per hour. So I want to get you the latest track in regards to that potential for some strong winds. And this is going to be moving towards Wardsville, New Bloomfield, Jefferson City, all in line for some strong winds and some heavy rain. We'll look at some gusts between 40 and 60 miles per hour. Here's the track of this. Near Oldham at 923, Claysville at 925, Cold Junction at 929, Jefferson City at 936, New Bloomfield at 940, Holt Summit at 941, and Wardsville at 943 as this storm continues to move off to the east. We also are seeing a new flood alert issued. It is for a flood advisory that is going to be for parts of, I believe, Pettis County and Cooper County as well. What is a flood advisory? Well, it's the step below a flood warning. Those areas that tend to flood when you get a lot of rain, that's what we're looking at here. And I'll actually add in our flooding graphic so we can get a full view of this flood advisory. We're going to take a second to switch over to the map here. But here it goes. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. And part of this is covered up by the flood watch. I can actually take that off and make it a little more visible for us to see. Excuse me. Lots of updates coming in right now that we continue to watch. Let me drop this here. And let me take off the flood watch just so that we can see the warning much more clearly. And here we go. That is going to include Bunsen. It is going to include a lot of the areas that we've been talking about tonight. Pilot Grove, Bunsen, Prairie Home. This flood advisory is in effect until 3:30 a.m. Saturday. A portion of the area is seen flooding in low-lying and poor drainage areas. Between 1.5 and 2.5 inches of rain have already fallen. Additional amounts of up to an inch are expected over the area, so we will continue to watch that. Again, a flood advisory in effect there. We also have a flood watch that is in effect for a good chunk of mid-Missouri until 10 a.m. on Saturday. Let's get the latest on the severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect also for central Missouri. This is for many of our counties. Saline and Pettis County have actually been removed from the severe thunderstorm watch. This is going to go until 11 p.m., so we have another hour and a half or so to go here. And again, the severe thunderstorms are not why we're on the air right now. It's the severe thunderstorm warnings in conjunction with enough rotation that we've seen a tornado warning issued for an extremely small sliver of Montauk County into northern Cole County, southern Boone County, into western Callaway County. That's where we have this severe thunderstorm warning. So recapping our warnings right now, a tornado warning until 9:30 for extreme eastern and northeastern at that, Montauk County. Also 1-inch hail possible with this storm. And with this severe thunderstorm warning in southern Boone, southwest Callaway County, northern Cole County, and northern Montauk County, we have the severe thunderstorm warning. That is in effect for another 35 minutes for 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail, and a possible tornado. So that's what we are continuing to monitor. In terms of the flood threat overall, a flood watch does also include mid-Missouri. The time now, 9:25. We are waiting out the last couple of minutes of this severe thunderstorm warning, or rather of this tornado warning. The severe thunderstorm warning is going to go until 10. And look at how much lightning is with these storms, from Sturgeon to Columbia to Ashland in California. In fact, I'm just going to highlight the part of this storm that's over Montauk County. And within this red box, 376 lightning strikes. Let me now do a full view of the radar. 482. So almost 400 of those lightning strikes coming from this cluster from California to Ashland. We'll add another 100 or so from these lightning bolts from Columbia to Sturgeon, but very, very significant amounts of lightning when it comes to the storms that are moving through southern Boone County into western Cole County into Montauk County. The National Weather Service is going to expire the tornado warning at 9:30. So that's good news. We are going to sign off at 9:28:50 when our CW newscast would normally end. We'll just have a clean transition there into regular programming. Directors, Master, let's go ahead and put us on guard for that. And directors, if you could count me down when we get closer, that would be greatly appreciated. Here's what we continue to watch at this hour with these thunderstorms that are moving through central Missouri. Let me give you a big recap here. We have what we call an MCV. Basically, it's a low pressure area on the backside of these storms that has locally enhanced the shear, the turning of the winds with height with these thunderstorms as they move through central Missouri. This has produced multiple tornadoes across the state at this point. We had a report of tornado damage in Ray County, Missouri. We had another report of a tornado near Malta Bend and a report of some power lines down in Malta Bend. We had really strong rotation in southern Cooper County and to Montauk County. Now that tornado warning has been allowed to expire, meaning that at 9:30, this is going to go away. But the severe thunderstorm warning is going to continue until 10 p.m. We are going to continue to watch these storms throughout the rest of the evening. As events warrant, we will break back into regular programming. If these storms continue to behave themselves, we will see you right here for KOMU 8 News at 10. That's in about 30 minutes. On behalf of weathercaster Emmy Chirpick, I'm Chief Meteorologist Matt Beckwith. Thank you for being with us. Have a good evening.